Hundreds gather at the Capitol to protest for trans rights just days after the state Senate passed legislation aimed at the LGBT.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby. And twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight.
I'd be born
You
in the
whip up
wrong
my
body.
appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give
And it don't
me
even gotta
ice
be on
and
on
fire.
that type of vibe. It could be on any level,
You're channeling wind
racial,
and
whatever.
rain.
You know.
You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me
I feel like a
midnight.
racehorse that's ready to come out the stall.
You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry.
You didn't even
Oh,
let me
oh,
I'm
oh,
about to be the politician, the
oh,
diplomat here.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a cigarette for me, man. So I already see that. Let me just get it. See, what you don't know is Yannick is a debater, and regardless how she really believes, for this particular moment, cause I do the same shit to her, she will go against the grain just to get me started. That's what you see. She laughing, right?
I'm really trying to be a diplomat. Let's see.
That's
I
it.
feel like
Here it comes.
once when you're born, that's the body you're supposed to be in. But
Oh,
some people may have different feelings about how they see themselves as they grow up, and some people might believe they're born in the wrong body. Um, and because we have a soul anyway, I mean, it's as long as you have a good soul.
Inside?
I feel like,
What's inside?
It's what's inside that counts.
yeah, it's just what's inside the
Just say it.
That's a political shit to say, man.
I'm telling you.
Yannick for mayor
Oh, Lord.
2024.
I love all people, even if they think they're a boy and they supposed to be and they're a girl or they're a girl. They may really feel that way. You can't measure like John said. You can't measure how somebody feel, right?
Mm,
You can't see from their perspective. You can't ever really be in their shoes on how they see the world. Even when you marry somebody and with them for years, you still can't experience them experiencing you.
mm.
Ooh.
So
Okay. All right.
I don't know. People could feel that way. Don't
So you
necessarily
ain't so
mean
you
that
just
it's
gonna stay on
true.
the fence or you gonna jump over to one side or not?
Next.
That's what I need to know. You know I'm over here cocked and loaded. You just as long as you know that. I'm on it.
I said my piece. I said my
All
piece.
right, moving along, moving along. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lawyer would answer the question. You know what I'm saying? What about you, Zeno? What you think?
I on a physical level, no. I don't think you could be born in the wrong body, but like Nick said, like from a mental perspective, yeah, you can feel like you were born in the wrong body. Um, like to some extent, it's not how you feel inside. So I mean, that's not how you feel. You don't feel like male. You don't feel like probably not doing the male stereotype thing that males are supposed to be doing. And you don't want to do that. You feel like playing with Barbie dolls. You feel like wearing tutus and stuff like that. Then to some extent, because you definitely cannot feel the way somebody feels and you cannot experience themselves like how they would experience themselves. So, yeah, from that perspective, mentally, I think somebody could feel like, yeah, they were born in the wrong body.
I think
Next.
I think people. I don't think you could be born in the wrong body because like to me your body is your body. You know what I'm saying? Like I think people could wonder what it'd be like to be in another body. Like some people could even wonder what it's like to be another race. You know what I'm
Saying like, damn, I wish I was white folks. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd have, you know what I mean? Certain type of privileges or shit, or oh, I wish I was black. I would have been more, you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
hip. You know what I'm saying, cool and shit. So I think people could feel like that. You know what I mean? But sometimes people take it to the extreme, and if it got like other people's with agenda, they could actually use that shit against them. You know what I'm saying? Or not even against them, use that shit for their own benefit. You know what I mean? And I think like that shit is being pushed a lot, telling people that they born in the wrong body, because it's not even just on some sexual community shit, right? There's people out there that dress like wolves and dress like, it's a whole bunch of stuff. It's not even like we talking about the sexual part, right? There's literally communities of people out there that say that they cats and they cats and they dress with the cat things all day, every day. They wear that shit like it's part of them. You know what I mean? Because they feel like they're a cat in a human body. It's not just like we. It's just that the sex stuff is a popular thing because that's what we see. But it's like this shit is some next level shit. And you know what? Like I be wondering what people like they're like how they be really like seeing the world, like what make them think that they're a cat, because that shit is some extreme shit, you know what I mean? But I don't think you could be born in the wrong body, because you don't even know what it's like to be a cat or what it's like to be the other sex, because you never felt that shit. You never had you know what I'm saying, the morning wood. You never had the morning wood waking up, you know what I'm saying? You never had your period, you know what I'm saying? You never felt the cramps. and shit. You know what I'm saying? And be moody and all of that shit. So it's like how you know that you're born in the wrong body, you know? But hey, I don't think you could be born in the wrong body. But I think you could wonder, you know, what you got on it, John?
Hell no, you can't be born in the wrong body.
Lord, Lord
And I
help
am not
us.
the only psychologist that knows that. The others out there know that, and they're just scared. They just scared. Either they took some money or they don't want to stop the money coming in.
But
But you
people can
cannot be
feel
born
that
in the
way,
wrong
right?
body.
Isn't
Yeah,
it
when
a
you're made to feel that
diagnosis?
way,
That's the question.
when you're
Mm.
made to feel that way, there's
Isn't the
no.
question can you feel that way? Isn't that the first question?
No,
Can you
I said,
feel that way?
did you ask? Could you feel that way?
I thought that
No,
was
I
the
said, can
question.
you
Can you feel
can
like
can
you're
you be
born?
born in the wrong body? But the
Yeah, they don't.
person who's
Yeah,
asking that question, they could only feel that way to say that shit. There's no other way they could even come up with
of
that
course
question.
you can feel any kind of way you want to feel.
Mm,
Okay.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, what's being overlooked
Yeah.
is the outside influences that have you feeling that way, which is the reason why there's a seemingly correlation between suicide and you not affirming them.
mm,
But there's no empirical value that is connecting the two. And you can go, but the only way for you to really establish that is that you would have to have research that has control for every type of mental illness, depression. Let's just use the main two: depression, which is also comorbid with anxiety oftentimes, right? Acute or clinical depression. Okay. If you were to if the person who is already depressed, how do you know that the fact that they killed themselves, right, was not related to the depression? There are people with depression that does not have gender dysphoria and they kill themselves. There's people who have one, bipolar one disorder, and they kill themselves, or bipolar two disorder,
mm,
which they go from manic episodes, mixed episodes between switching between manic and depression, and they kill somebody else, and then they still kill themselves. Okay, so that community already has a high level of depression amongst it. And then why is it that if the gender affirming care that you censored absolutely everybody on, if that is the most efficacious way to treat the gender dysphoria, then why is it that they kill themselves even after they've had the complete surgery? Oh, I know. Me. Let me answer. Because you never found out what the underlying problem was. What makes sense to me is leaving them alone and let them go through puberty and living this way until and getting the right treatment using cognitive behavioral therapy with very outlined goal setting and reaffirming that they're okay in the body that they were born with. Because you can take a person who's overweight and you can make that person feel like he wish he was born skinny. If you bully him hard enough and you own him hard enough and his dad is on him hard enough, you can make him feel like he wish he was somebody else. Carl Rogers said that there are two types of there's you who you really are and there's who you really want to be. And when you look in the mirror and you see who you really are and you don't like it, that pushes you to that makes you want to escape.
mm,
So a part of escapism is dissociation. You want to dissociate yourself with that person that you don't like, and you want to become something else.
Mm.
And if that something else is a part of your ideal self, then you will adopt that caricature because that's all it is, a caricature. It's not who you
Mm.
are. It's your ideal self. When those two things become incongruent, neurotic behavior expresses itself. and I'll just digress at that point, and we'll come back around.
Okay.
Whoa, that's deep. So you're saying basically it's something deeper than them just thinking that they're not supposed to be the gender that they are.
Exactly. And it
Oh.
can be a number of things to make them feel that way.
Mhm.
I can give
Mhm.
you a number of great examples.
Mhm.
I'll use identical twins inside the womb. You can have two twin boys fighting for space inside the womb. And if one of those boys is taking up more of the space, your personality is starting to develop. And research has shown us that the personality starts to develop inside the womb, right?
Even in the
So if this
womb.
boy is
Wow.
taking up more space, your brother is taking up more space, and he's taking dominance over you, you're going to come out and be more feminine than dominant.
Hey.
Because twins, it's a no secret, twins compete all the time. And it starts with competing for space inside the womb.
Mm,
Okay, so now he's taking dominance over you. You will most likely come out, and your behavior will be, he'll be more dominant than you in the womb, and he's more dominant than you once you're out. And
Mhm.
now you have taken on the role of being less dominant than your brother. Now let's put some adults into it. Dad spends more time with your brother because he is more manly. Dad spends less time with you because you don't like doing some of the same things that your brother likes to do. Now I'll go a step further. When you have a community like the LGBTQ plus A plus one plus all these other letters giving you propaganda saying, "Oh, I know what's wrong with you. You're queer. That's what's wrong with you. You were born queer," which is the absolute lie. Then you need something to adopt. You need some explanation as to why you are not like your brother. You look just like him. Y'all shared the same zygote. Y'all shared the same egg. Y'all have the exact same DNA. The only thing that separates your fingerprints. So why don't you behave like your brother? Because behavior comes from outside forces. Behavior is not something that you learn. Behavior is not something that you attain through genetics completely.
mm,
You have precursor genes for your aggression. And if your outside influences can make that precursor gene grow, but you don't have anything else other than behavior,
mm,
then learn behavior, the learn aspects. So yeah, this is how the road that ends up going down. And when people start giving you ideas, you're gonna jump right on those ideas because you're looking for an explanation as to why.
Mm. So when parents or adults say that boys should be stronger, and like if a boy falls, while they'd rush to help the girl, they would leave the boy to pick up himself, dust off and whatnot. You'd say, because this sounds like a natural issue, because if they're fighting in the womb for space, and one is dominant over the other, then already that you already see, that competition between males. And then when he comes out into the world, he has to deal with other types of males.
Mm-hmm.
So so and this is a problem that I don't even see us as people, or as a parent, being able to recognize unless they actually have this information. So I guess I saw this to say that you're supposed to leave the male. You think it's a good thing to, like, boys are not supposed to cry and stuff like that, because after that explanation, it seems logical that, hey, boys need to grow tough.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's what is. There's a lot of misinformation. I mean, people are taking information from people, one that's never raised children. They have a big platform that gives them validation enough. They never had children, don't have any type of college education, and they think because they can read books that's enough. You have to understand what you're reading. Then you have to have access to research articles to see what the empirical outcomes were. If not, you're going to be leading with misinformation. Like this whole thing about easy parenting does not work. Thorndike, you see the difference? I can go right to examples because of the education and be able to tell you why it doesn't work. There's theories on behavior that have been empirically tested. Thorndike posits that if you have a behavior that you don't like and it's met with an equal force of behavior that is not liked
Mm,
on the actor, then the behavior that was emitted is least likely to happen again. Now, if
mm,
that behavior that is like is met with a reward that is great in the eyes of the actor, then the behavior will
mm.
most likely be
Continue.
repeated again.
Mhm. Mhm.
Period. See, you can argue with somebody on mentalism because mentalist psychology is very subjective and it leads you to a lot, but behavioral psychology is extremely scientific. If you're scratching, I can assume that you're itching. I'm not going to say, well, she's scratching because of the relationship that she had with her father back when she was a young child. And because he never gave her attention around her ears, she has uh, she's developed an involuntary reflex to seemingly scratch behind her ears. But that's not actually what she's doing. No, her ear's itching, and she just scratched her ear. Now, we don't know why it's itching, but it's definitely probably itching, or she's trying to adjust
Mm,
her mic. So we would just have to observe a little bit longer and see how many times you go back to scratching your ear or whatever. That's how you work with behavior psychology. We don't have to listen. We don't have to get any feedback from you. You're going to give us biofeedback because asking a person is the most unreliable way to find out what's going on. People are
mm,
literally going into these psychologists' office self-diagnosing themselves with gender dysphoria. They ask them two or three
mm,
questions. That's not how it's supposed to be, but that's the way it is because it's a cash cow. You go to the clinical psychologist and you say, "Hey, little Johnny's got gender dysphoria. Little Johnny, you got gender dysphoria? Yeah, I do. You think you wish you were a girl? Yeah, I feel like killing myself if I don't become a girl. Okay, yeah, sounds like he's got gender dysphoria. When he was a little kid, oh, I can remember he used to dress in dresses and everything. Oh, okay, cool. Next, okay, I'm gonna give you this number and you go talk to the psychiatrist and get him on some therapy. Okay, so then go talk to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist who's charging $400 to $500 an hour, and he's gonna bill for the whole hour just to give you 10, spend 10, 15 minutes with you. And then they once he gets billed and he starts your hormone therapy, he calls his buddy, the surgeon, and tell the surgeon, hey, we got one with the right health care. So here you go. Surgeon, of course, is going to give him a kickback. Of course, they've never owned this, but I can show
mm.
you plenty of videos that where people have had reassignment surgeries and regretted it, like a whole bunch of them. And then they start telling how they really got a chance to get
No,
there.
I asked him a question on his introductory statement because what he said was very informative
Mhm.
because while I agreed, we spoke about how a person felt on the inside. He made the strong point that um, people behavioral tendencies are influenced really from your outside. So
Mhm.
so I was just getting some information from him on that aspect because he was talking really on how people get some of the influences that could actually have people feeling like they're not who they're supposed to be, and because they're not
Mhm.
happy with what they see in the mirror, they want to disassociate themselves with what they see. I found that to be very interesting and informative, so that's why
Mhm.
I asked him the question. But yeah, let's look at a video real quick.
But with her, I'm worried about like her mental well-being and her dilation. The minute she leaves my house, we have a dilation problem. I have woken Jazz out of a dead sleep and taken the dilator and put the lubrication on it and said, "Here, you take this and you put it in your vagina. If not, I will." But Jazz is bad, even when I'm home once a day. I will be so mad if she goes away to college and that thing seals up. I will wring her neck. Can you imagine?
So that disturbing clip that you just saw is Jeanette Jennings, the mother of Jazz Jennings, who is this reality TV star that became known as one of the first public trans kids. That's right, Jazz is
Mm,
a biological male, but at a very young age was diagnosed as trans and received all the surgeries. And in that clip, you can hear Jazz.
Wait. They was diagnosed
Yeah,
as
yeah.
trans.
I can't sit back on that one.
Yes, at an
There's no
I
such
just
early
thing
age.
as
wanted.
Yeah, I
diagnosing
seen that
somebody as
show
trans.
too. I
We need
seen
to
that show.
elaborate. What y'all think about that shit? What y'all think about being diagnosed as
You
Wow.
trans?
can't be diagnosed as trans.
As
There's no such
trans.
thing as trans
But for you to be
diagnosis.
a trans, you have to create one.
You create that transition. That trans is you transitioning. That's
Yeah.
not a public.
It's
It's not
something you
a
create.
group of people. It's not a race. It is a process. That's what that
Yeah.
is.
Wow.
It is a
Right.
process. It's not a diagnosis. The diagnosis is gender dysphoria, and the process is
Right, right.
is the transition
Yeah.
surgery. All
Mm.
this slang that's used is just confusing to everybody.
Mhm.
Mm. I think I
It's
think it was very
And
harmful. I
it
seen the
is.
show. I
It
And this is
is.
seen
from a professional
the show that
level.
was on USA. I think it was on, yeah,
But
on TNT. It was one of them. It was either USA or TNT, and I seen it when it first came out. And to me, it was very disturbing in the sense that it's harmful for him or her or whatever
him,
you want to call her, because she was so young when they
not
said,
just because
okay, we
he's
just
so
gonna
young.
young, and it was just like, why would you do those things to a young child? Like, they don't know any better. Yes, children do know some things, and we do feel like some children have old souls and they know stuff, but you are the parent. You are the one that's supposed to be teaching them right from wrong, how to find them, what it is about them, everything about a boy that's good. If they start to feel like, oh, maybe I should be a girl, like you are the one that's supposed to guide them into the right direction. So for you to just take what they say as, like, children change their mind every
why are they
second.
even saying that shit though? When I was a kid, nobody never said they wanted to be. That's like new.
Mhm.
That's I'm telling you, that shit is. Who's even telling them to do that shit or to say that shit?
You know who
But
tell
I
them to do it.
understand, but they do change their mind a lot, right? Like, they don't. Children don't, like, they can be mad and want you dead, and then next thing you know, they can't live without you. Like, they little, or want to be uh they can want to be a fireman today, and then the next day they want to be something else. Like, children gonna change their minds. It's, to me, to start that and to just give into that as a child is harmful. But yeah.
One the one thing I want to point out that what she's describing is first of all, you don't get a vagina. Who all knew? Raise your hand if you knew that.
Hmm?
You don't get a vagina.
Exactly. You do not
We
get
know
a
that shit
vagina.
though.
You're
No, I'm
born
serious.
with
I
it.
am serious as a complete heart attack. It is not a vagina. It is a pathway.
Okay.
What do you know about a womb? When you get a womb, what does it do? When it's
Mm,
healing, what does it do? Does it stay open or does it close up?
mm,
What happens?
Mm.
If you
I
get
don't
shot
know.
and there's a hole there, what happens
Or
to
a
the hole?
wound. I thought you said a womb.
absolutely.
Oh
What
yeah,
A
happens?
wound.
eventually.
A
We
Oh
womb.
thought you
yeah.
said
Not a
A
wound,
womb, not a
like a
wound.
W O
wound.
M B, a W O
Yeah,
U
that's
N
A
D.
UND.
yeah.
Okay.
It
Yes, what
A
close up
happens?
womb.
when it
It closes
healing.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that she's been wounded.
Okay.
Yes.
That's why she has to
That's
have
right.
dilation for the rest of her life.
Mm.
Because that is a male. Now let's go back to why. Let's talk about why. See, these are the type questions where all the other activists don't know to ask and challenge. They just go with whatever doctors say because they have no medical knowledge. Okay? Your body is rejecting that and seeing it as a wound because of your genetic makeup. You understand? Your immune system, your cytokines are firing, and they are sending your blood is being
Coagulate.
told to coagulate at that
Yep.
spot okay, and close up to heal
It's a
itself.
wound.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
if that was a real woman, it would not do that, because any woman who ever had a menstrual cycle, when her uterus starts to go through its shedding and starts to have blood come from it, right? It creates scar tissue there. And if it's too much scar tissue and it goes outside the uterus, it's called endometriosis, where it becomes very painful. But at no point does her uterus try to close up and heal itself, because it's a natural process for a woman. The only thing that the APA and anybody else who endorsing this bad behavior is further promoting the delusion that this person is living in, because this person will not, cannot, ever, ever be a woman, period, point blank. It is genetically impossible. A carrier type test would reveal that it's chromosomally impossible. It cannot happen. And her body is, she has a pathway. That's all she has. A pathway so that a male could get enough stimulation to ejaculate in this pretend vagina, because that's all it is. It does not have vestibular glands to secrete. Vestibular glands is the reason that a woman gets wet. The male has a bulbal urethral gland that secretes seminal fluid called precum, so that he can help with the lubrication process and get past the labia majora minora. She has none of that. None of it.
How does she experience pleasure herself? She, him,
If
him.
she had a bad, if she had a bad surgeon,
Mm.
then chances are they won't. Because when you look at a male's anatomy, the part of the penis that's closest to the clip is the glans pubis, which is known as the head.
Mhm.
Okay, the glans penis, the head, the cap, the mushroom. All right, that is similar to the cap and the head on the woman. Both have erectile tissue. A woman's clit can get hard just like a man's penis. It's just way smaller. You understand? Now, when a man has prostate cancer and they have to go and they have to remove the prostate or remove the cancer, there is a 50% chance that he may never be able to experience sex again, because they might have to cut those nerve endings in order for you to experience it. So let's go to the woman. At the end of the day, this man is going to end up having anal sex, even though he has a vagina. He's going to end up having anal sex. Now, some research says that a man can get stimulated through anal sex, but here's all the problems that come along with that. You're most susceptible to HIV. Most of the time, you're going to get chronic what is it called? You come up with chronic bowel syndrome, all of that, diverticulitis, all
What
of
the
that
fuck is
associated with
that?
anal sex.
What is chronic? What is chronic bowel? What the fuck is that shit?
When you have
Chronic
bacteria
bowel.
build up inside the colon, and you end up with
Oh, okay,
you end up
okay.
having diarrhea a lot.
Mm.
Dang, dang. Well,
Like IBS. I'm
That's
sorry.
why some of them don't even get the bottom surgery. The only reason they get the bottom surgery is for social acceptance and to date. That's the only reason.
Mm.
mm,
But trust me, there's no competition between those things that they have, those passages that they have in a real actual vagina. Like there's nothing real about this person. Nothing. Their breasts are fake. The passage is a hole. That's a hole. Literally a hole. A hole that has to be
maybe
dilated every day of their life.
every day.
Every
Um, I,
day for the rest of
I,
their
I
life.
I didn't get the part about the pleasure from that passage. Do they get pleasure from
It
that
depends
passage?
on the surgeon. If
The
he was
surgeon.
able, you got to understand something. you're
Mhm.
dealing. So that's why I said with the prostate, which is
Mhm.
behind, which your prostate is inside behind the testicles.
Mhm.
Okay, if that it right there can cause you where you cannot have pleasurable sex again. Do you imagine how hard it is to reconnect those nerve endings around that area, or they don't disconnect those nerves and they just simply shape a clit around the tip of the gland's penis where the nerves don't never get touched. Now, if they do that, it's possible to have that they can receive pleasure.
But you're talking about just the head of the penis, right?
Yeah, just the head. That's
So
why
what they
when
doing with what they doing with the shaft? How they getting it short like a vagina, like flat?
you kind of like you peel it.
Because I know they say that um, males are born females, and then the
Males are never
the
born females.
yeah
Now,
No,
when you're born, you already got your
you already
genitals
got
before you're
everything
born.
intact. But I
yeah
understand what you're
I
saying.
know what
So
she
if
said.
right.
Yeah.
They just say like as what's her name put it, his coochie fell out.
it is so much more to that because we do not
That's
have.
just a simple
Right. I
description.
mean, if you look at, okay, so a boy can suffer from cryptorchidism, which is his testicles never pass through the inguinal canal. That means it's just like a dog when you say, well, his balls never drop. Okay. But
Okay.
you can go and get that surgically corrected and they will go into the scrotum like they're supposed to. But as those cells are developing, okay, as your testosterone levels increase and your adrenal levels increase, well, as you're developing into a boy, then you're gonna develop testes, and the testes will, aided by a fibromuscular cord called a gubernaculum, come down into the scrotum and be sitting there ready to come out and pronounce you have a little boy. And then the penis will grow. Now, there
Right.
are some cases, there's only one case that I'm very familiar with that has a very strong case for feeling like they're a woman and being born that way, and that is Klinefelter syndrome, where they have an extra X. They actually grow breasts on their own, and they have a micro
Isn't
penis.
that lady that came on Clement's
That's
show that
exactly
you
right.
met?
And I gave her I don't remember her name, but I gave her all the respect in the world because uh, she could be in my book. She's a she. She has an extra X chromosome. She's XXY. She's got her. She did not have male bone structure. She did not have male bone density. She grew breast during puberty. She grew breast on her own. Had a
Mhm.
micro penis, just so similar to a clit. That was just a little bit longer than a clit. Testicles that never passed through the inguinal canal. Okay, so she was closer to being a woman than all this.
But she appeared to be male,
No,
somewhat.
no.
Or it's just that because of the parts
She
she
didn't even
had.
have an Adam's apple. I don't know if y'all noticed that, Yannick.
Mm.
No, I didn't know that.
She didn't have no Adam's apple. She had hands. I got big man hands, right? She didn't have those. She didn't have big. She had slim fingers, like a woman. She had a woman's hands
So what made her stand out to the point
because she
that
had XXY chromosomes.
okay. Oh,
So
oh.
the
Mhm.
XR,
Yeah,
the
she had.
the XRY complex gave her extra X. And
Mhm.
the reason I can stand by her is because 1 in 500 boys in the world are born with this developmental sexual disorder. Which, if you do the math on it, if you're in a room with 15,000 people, there may be one out of all 15,000, and you will never know because they either have chosen to live their life as a man or they chosen to live their life as a woman. And this is, you have to treat them almost like a hermaphrodite who has ambiguous sex organs.
Mm.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
let's
Wow.
continue. Let's continue the video.
His mom,
You know what I'm saying?
talking about how she is the one actually essentially forcing Jazz to keep her neo vagina, i.e., the wound, the inverted penis that they created through surgery, open. Talking about how she is the trans kids. That's right, Jazz is a biological male, but at a very young age was diagnosed as trans and received all the surgeries. And in that clip, you can hear Jazz's mom talking about how she is the one actually essentially forcing Jazz to keep her neo vagina, i.e., the wound, the inverted penis that they created through surgery, open because Jazz wouldn't do it himself. And overall, this is just exactly why we as conservatives, or heck, liberal allies, anyone who's not an insane person, we need to fight hard to ban these surgeries for minors because people's lives are being ruined. And ultimately, this is a tale of mental health problems remaining improperly treated. And I am referring both to Jazz and his mother. We have this article from the American Spectator that just paints such a really grim picture of what's going on in this family. It says the story of Jazz Jennings, whose parents began their attempts to transition him to female when he was just 5 years old. Okay, just 5 years old, had a major impact on the acceptance of transgenderism in America. As a child who made TV appearances with Barbara Walters, Jennings was the example par excellence for the perspective that some people innately belong to the opposite gender, an argument that was made more and more convincing because Jennings' parents had treated him as a girl since early childhood. However, as that clip kind of alluded to, now that Jennings is an adult, maybe it's seeming like perhaps all of these surgeries, they
What age did they say? What age they say they
5,
started?
5,
5.
5. Mm-hmm.
5 years
Then
old. 5 years old. The child is not even in an identity crisis. You don't even reach identity crisis until you're 13. Five
why they
years
start
old.
treating him? Why they start treating him like a girl though?
He said they always treated him like a girl. So by
Because the
Why?
mother
5,
wanted a
She
girl more
probably
than
wanted
likely.
a girl.
Yes.
That's
mhm.
fucked up. That's some
Why do
twisted
you think
shit.
I'm so passionate about
It,
this? Because I don't believe the hype. I do not believe the crap. You understand?
it
It's
it's
Mm.
crap.
like it's like a father wanting a son and got a daughter, and so he plays
Mhm.
soccer with her and all the sports, and then she
He
end
turns
up
into
into
a
sports.
tomboy.
Exactly.
Mm.
And because he's living vicariously through his daughter, he is
Mhm.
forcing his own beliefs off on his daughter because he wants a son. And if he had a son, this is what he would do.
You do
And it
do.
just gets out of
Mhm.
hand. It
Like
just gets out of hand. And now the girl identifies more with the man
as a
side,
male.
and she's going to have more of those male mannerisms, and she's going to dissociate for the love of her daddy anything female. Go back and
Mhm.
watch Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
Look at the relationship between the dad and the daughter who played basketball. One had a
Mhm.
strong relationship with mom, the other had a strong
Mhm.
relationship with dad. The daughter learned to despise the mom and did not want to be like her. She wanted to be like her dad. She ended up working in a bank like her dad. She played basketball like her dad did. She liked boys. They weren't stupid enough to ruin any movies back then in the 90s by putting any of that weird stuff in there because we would definitely have not have watched it, and it would got barred from regular TV because that's how we had it back then.
Back
Okay,
then.
so they couldn't do all that, but they did put little hints in there, right? That she did not want nothing to do with how her mom was, but that's a real thing. You can raise a
With
tomboy
being
that just don't want to
feminine.
be a girl.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. She had a problem with being feminine. She didn't like anything that was. She didn't
Why do you think
even.
it's so many girls that play basketball and they end up liking other girls? Why do you think that is? They play
I
basketball at a high
To keep
level
it
and
real
they
with you,
dissociate with being
just
feminine.
for a
I
guy
let
that
hear
she
why.
did is not. She's like, if you look at the guys that she did and you look at the girls she did, they're not similar. Cause when she dating girls, she don't try to date a girl that's like a masculine girl. She like a feminine girl for like that. But it's like she probably can't get that from a man that or the type of man that she
But the
want or
type of man
respect.
that she date is more masculine.
Yeah, cause that's what she respect. You know what I'm saying? Cause a lot of girl and girl
Yep.
relationships be having a lot of fights because they don't respect each other like that. They look at
Yeah,
each other
because they
as
weren't
you.
meant to be together. If you look at the statistics on those relationships, the average lasts 6 to 8 months. That's it.
Mm,
If you
I
look
never
at the
seen the
true
stats.
data from Pew Research, is 6 to 8 months. That's it. The
Yeah.
marriages are
Wow.
even shorter than that.
Mm,
There's always somebody, well, I know a couple, maybe married for 20 years because they were old when they could get married. And they went to somewhere and where that was allowing it and they got married and they were both like just out the game. Like, wasn't no men looking for neither one of them. So they stayed together. They
mm.
became death buddies. But on
But
average,
they became
Nigga
they
said
became
dead
death buddies.
buddies.
I'm gonna die with you, you die with me, all right? In Kevin Hart's
sad.
words. So they just stayed together. But on average, they don't stay, those relationships on average, if you look at them, they don't stay together long. They trade up partners all the time. That is,
Mm,
the organization, the community, all of it is hypersexualized, which is consistent with early childhood trauma. Hypersexuality is one of those things. The inability to form meaningful relationships is of one of those things, one of those characteristics. But no one wants to have that conversation. We can get back to the movie now.
yeah, let's get back to the. I forgot we even had a video up for a minute there, you know.
Hmm.
This topic
Can I
talk.
say one thing before you start?
Yeah, go ahead.
What he was saying is that they, he said they experience violence because they fight a lot and all this other stuff. Um, about 25% of transgender people have experienced intimate partner violence.
Mm,
50% of transgender people have experienced sexual violence. And about 26% of gay men experience rape, physical violence, or stalking by intimate partner.
Wow.
So yeah, they do. I
Yeah,
mean,
Now,
yeah.
if we were to look at those
yes.
statistics again, add those numbers up, Yannick.
I'm not adding them up. I'm too
Well, what's
tired
the
today.
numbers? Give me the three numbers. What are they? 25 and what?
I'll type it in the thing. Go ahead and play the video.
nah, that shit is wild right there.
If
What
you
you was
add up
just
all
saying.
three of those numbers, which is going to be around 73%, 73% have experienced some form of trauma. Let's not, instead of breaking those statistics apart like that, like they like to do, so you can manipulate the community, so you can manipulate everybody and have them like call you, let you maintain this victim mindset. 73, 74%, whatever it's going to come out to be, have experienced some type of trauma. And you wonder why the suicide rate is high. It's not because they're not being affirmed. They've never really been accepted. They never wanted to be accepted because if they wanted to be accepted, they wouldn't have their own flag
Mm.
and they would
Wait a
try to
minute.
be accepted.
I left one out. 44% of lesbian women experience rape, physical violence, or stalking by intimate partner. Theirs is higher
Mm,
than the gay men.
Yeah, I
some
find
bitches is crazy.
lesbian women.
Women.
I Yeah, they well, lesbians. I find their relationships get very abusive at times,
More abusive than a male and female relationship.
and I don't know why they
Me
find.
neither, because you said the nurturing aspect, right?
Yeah,
I,
and like
But
they
you gotta
and
but you
remember.
got one that's trying to assert
right.
fake
She
dominance.
she's going to overdo it.
Remember,
It's not
women
only
not
she
gonna
gonna overdo it,
respect
she ain't
each
gonna
other
look
like
at her
how.
like that.
Hmm?
Remember, women not gonna respect each other like how they respect a man. Cause you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, but when if she's trying to be a man, she'll go overboard with it.
nah,
Yeah,
Because
because remember she living with somebody, so they're gonna see cracks in her arm, or they're gonna see when, cause her being a man is not gonna be consistent like a man just being a man. You know what I'm saying? And straight up, no
she have to
disrespect to nobody, but
overcompensate.
it's not
it's
gonna
just
be
the truth.
consistent. They're gonna
It,
see cracks in your shit. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna try each other. You know what I mean?
like Brittany
Wow.
Griner, she's really big, right?
Right.
She can't whoop a 5'9" man. He would light her up. He would beat her unconscious. He would beat her so bad she wouldn't be she wouldn't even be recognizable. As big as
Yeah.
she is, 6'9", she cannot whoop a 5'9" man at 165 pounds. She couldn't do nothing with him. He would box her eyes out her head and
But
beat her
at
up,
that
slam her to the ground, and wouldn't be nothing she could do about it, right? Well,
At
you're
that,
not gonna feel that same security with her as you would a man who is 6'9", 245, 260 pounds of him. There's a big difference there. So you respect him, but you might challenge her. That's what he's talking about. Cause you done seen her when she's scared. You done seen her when she really didn't want to go see. She would rather call the police and get a who over there. What would she rather have over there? I want to call and get the police over here, and it's more than likely gonna be a what that shows up. So
A
now I can't
policeman.
respect you like that. I just can't. I'll argue with you now. I'll get in your face and everything. That's what DJ was talking about.
Mhm.
Mm.
But at her size, um, n- what kind of man, or not what kind of man, but it's not that easy, I would assume, to like get a man, because men are so easily intimidated to the point of a woman being taller than them.
That's only an attraction. Fighting, they'd be more apt to hit her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Like she would
understand
make them
that.
want to fight. Cause you ever heard her talk?
Ooh,
Like if she got mad at me and started yelling at me, and I don't hit women, I'd hit her. I crack her right across the jaw and feel
Who are
good
you
about it.
talking about?
You don't know who Brittany Griner is?
Oh, Brittany Griner. That's who you
Yeah, the
talking about.
one. Oh,
Okay.
she
Mhm.
talks like this right here.
damn! I never heard her talk.
Oh, it's deep, boy. It's deep. I said, oh my God, she sounds like him. Like I don't know. I mean, that's the way she talk. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the way she speak.
Let's get back to the video.
It'd be like call
Let's
the
run the
cops over
vis-
there and be like, hey, what happened here?
let's run the video. I
We got in a
forgot
fight.
I keep forgetting about the video. Let's run the video.
He hit me.
Weren't just a band aid to stick on these mental health problems. It says in recent years, however, Jennings has repeatedly made headlines for health problems that offer counter evidence to the narrative that medicine can seamlessly transition adults or children from one sex to the other. It says a botched penile inversion vaginoplasty that Jennings underwent at the age of 17. Can you imagine? Required multiple corrective surgeries and left him with greatly diminished sexual function. So the idea that this surgery was even
Told you.
available to a 17-year-old, someone who cannot vote, who, I mean, cannot drink, who maybe doesn't have their full license yet. If you live in a place that actually requires you take courses and can only get your learners at 16, this is someone who was able to make the decision to cut off their penis, to forever scar themselves. It's outrageous, and I like how they talk about the corrective surgeries that were needed, because I think oftentimes the vision of being trans that is presented by social media and all of these activists is that, oh yeah, you get the surgery and then it's perfect, it's as if you were born female. It's like, no, that's not what happens. I mean, we've covered on this channel before stories of botched top surgery, i.e. double vasectomies. When your breasts are cut off, that is a major surgery. It's not just like getting a piercing or anything. And it's a similar case for the vaginoplasty, as should shock absolutely
John,
nobody. Like, this
I
is
want to get your take on um this external influence, and what you think it is that is supporting this behavior, or agenda, in a sense. I mean, there are a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community that would argue that they're genuinely feeling this way, and and they link a lot of it to their emotions and their feelings. I wanted to get your opinion with the role society is playing on the outside. What is it? Is it that they're just is it your view that they're just accommodating people's feelings, their emotions, or there's a greater agenda? How you see it as somebody who's in the field, who's studying what's going on, and who's seeing what's going on, and actually have access to the data and the empirical work.
Well, that's when you start getting into having to, if you want to really understand why, what is going on, First, you have to know that there's a body that has a lot of pull that is supporting them.
Mhm.
Presidents know that if you get up there and say the wrong
This
thing, you're not going to make it in the office. That's a fact. Let's just get that out the way. So now you have a political narrative. You have a political motivator. Okay. So now coming on to the person. If this person is feeling, has been led to believe by whatever reason that they're not good enough as a man, they're not good enough. I'm going to say this again. They're not good enough as a man. And they go and get this. It is being socially reinforced, which validates. If there, I can't remember what the video was, but it was a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Never in your life, you being a female, never in your life have you said, if I ask you, Zena, how do you know you're a female? I
Mhm.
don't know what you're going to say,
Mhm.
but I know what you most likely will say, but I know what you're
Mhm.
not going to say. And you can stop me if I'm wrong. You're not for one time going to say, because my friends tell me I'm a female. Uh, uh, this guy right here, he's known me he knows I'm a female. Everybody tells me I'm a female. That is the perfect segue to mentally, like this is a mental
Oh,
illness. This is not you don't even really believe that you're a female. You need social validation for
mm.
this lie that you're living, this delusion.
Mm.
Because what you can't say is, well, because of my DNA, I mean, I've given birth to 3 children, I have a uterus, I produce ova. That would be a flat out lie. So you can't say that. So guess what? When do you get out of this incongruency? You never get out this incongruency, which maybe, perhaps just maybe, is why there's still the same rate of suicide in this community before and after. So you say, everybody shut up. If that's a woman right there, a strong trans woman, and she's a real woman. If you don't say that, we're going to put you in jail. They might go and kill themselves. What you going to do when they actually still go and kill themselves?
Put
Because
yourself
that
in jail,
kills your
right?
argument that affirmation is what's needed for them not to commit suicide. Kills it.
Mm.
Because they're just like
Mhm.
this. The numbers are just like this.
So let me ask you this, right? What do you think about how logical does this sound, right? What if a man, right, who feels damn, I should probably plugged out. I'm trying to plug my computer in. Yeah, what if a man who feels like more feminine, you know what I'm saying? He feels he's more of the feminine persuasion. What if he go and deal with a woman that feels she's of the more masculine persuasion? You know what I'm saying? Whatever happened to him when he was a kid?
Okay,
Because you know,
so
like a lot of stuff is from trauma and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he go and date a woman that she, you know what I mean? Like
that's
the
easy.
opposite.
Man, that's completely easy, man. So you either had one of three things happen to you. You had an overbearing mother that emasculated you as a boy. You had an overbearing daddy that emasculated you as a boy. Somebody made you feel that you weren't good enough to be a boy. So that means you don't feel like you have those protective factors. So you're going to be attracted to something that is more dominant. Now, a boy who has been emasculated by a man is more likely to look for a man who would be considered a top if he was homosexual.
Mm,
But the thing is, he's not a homosexual. He's heterosexual. He's just a sissy. That's what we refer to as a sissy.
mm.
You're a little femboy. You're feminine. But so he would be attracted to a girl that's more masculine because he does not feel that he. Think about it. Why are these jokers want to compete against girls? Because they can beat those girls and they know they can beat those girls and they don't have to try hard to beat those girls, right? That
Mm.
reinforces his internal what? Men who
Insecurity.
beat women have a low self-esteem. I don't care if you physically beat them. I don't care if you go out in sports and beat them, but it's the same thing. So you've always had that low self-esteem. So that low self-esteem, where did it come from? Because you're not born with low self-esteem. Sure not.
Mm.
Somebody gave you that low self-esteem. Something gave you that low self-esteem. So when you got that low self-esteem, what are you gonna do about it? So you got all these people telling you these things, and how much what is really the truth? Okay, but this a person who is feeling like they are not man enough, and he's not gay. He's that he has attraction toward women. He'll go toward a woman that's more aggressive. Like look at a skinny short man. He's gonna go with a big tall woman. Feels comfortable that way. But a man who's comfortable being a man, they won't date a tall woman because it challenges their maleness. It challenges their maleness. He needs a woman that's shorter so he can feel like he needs to protect her. When a woman is his height or taller, he feels like she can fend for herself.
Mm.
Ask some tall girls why men
That's
ain't looking for them.
that's terrible.
I'm serious. Ask tall girls how quick men run up to them trying to date them. They be real tall. Now the ones who are extremely tall, they will. But look at Shaq. How many women has he ever dated that was 6 feet tall? I'll wait. I'll wait. Because he's 7'3". But his women right around are 5'4".
I wonder how
And
they
he was
deal with
around
that.
women who were 6 feet all day. But he wasn't looking for them. And he could get away with it because a 6 foot tall woman to him was like a 5'5", 5'6", 5'7" woman to me, being 6'2". He could have got away with it. Why do you think Pearly Things? She's 6 feet tall. That's why it's hard for her to find a husband.
Not that's not only why. Pearly things
That
is
ain't the
not
only
really.
reason, but she'll let you know. Like I 6 feet tall. Dudes are just not going out there looking for 6 foot tall women.
Mm.
I'm not now.
I
Am I
think
saying that nobody is? I'm not
I think
saying that.
women naturally respect men that's taller than them.
They want
You know what I'm
men
saying?
taller than them. But
Yeah,
then you
it's a
got some
natural
girls,
respect.
Yeah.
You feel like he's gonna protect you like
Yeah, that was a
subconsciously.
must for me.
exactly. But you also have girls who grew up with who probably may have gotten raised, I don't know, may have gotten raised by their dad, or they have a superiority complex. They feel like they're more dominant. And if a man that you describe ran into a woman like that, that would be a match made in heaven, to be honest with you.
Mm.
Because both of them are giving each other. She wants to be over the man. He's gonna let her because he wants her to be over him. Remember the last show when I said instead of looking for what's compatible, look for what is complementary. That's a
Mm.
complementary.
Okay.
Okay. What is this?
So we should let them be.
Let me run this
Yeah,
video
just let
for
them be.
y'all, and then no, don't answer that question yet. Let's run this video, and after this video we're gonna go to Nick. Nick will be the first one to review this video because
She just
her mic has
quiet
been
there.
muted. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Congresswoman Nick, we're going to play this video and let the congresswoman come through and do what it do. All right, let's get it from the start. And
This is Merrin. She fell in love with James.
I'm a masculine presenting woman.
And I am a feminine presenting straight man. I guess people perceive us as weird as a couple because we don't
yo, disrespect. Yes, eh.
Let the video
feminine
play.
presenting straight man. I guess people perceive
That was the video play.
Let it play. No, my fault. Let me make sure this
Oh,
shit
you
is
set
good.
me
Let me
up.
make sure it's good.
You
Y'all
set
can
me.
see
CJ,
this.
you set me up, bro.
No, nah, nah. I just seen the video. I was like, you know what? Let me play this shit. But y'all can see it though. That's funny. That's
Perceive
funny.
us as weird as a couple because we don't follow the regular status quo. We don't look like how they want us to look.
The couple met through TikTok, and despite not being each other's usual type,
I was identifying as gay because it was easier than explaining all the ins and outs of who I was.
I've only dated girls in the
All right, we can't let that run by. What you think about that? He said
Oh
he was identifying with gay because it was
Mhm.
easier.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's falling right into what I was describing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Imagine having to explain to people that I act feminine, dress like a girl, but I'm straight.
Exactly. He would have to be talking to somebody that's the. If you've never been around the lifestyle like to the level that
Mhm.
I've been around it, like I had a homeboy who owned a gay club,
Mm,
and I faced it and went in there and I started hanging around in that around this group. And I ain't gonna lie, I had a lot more fun in the gay club than I did in a heterosexual club. Ooh, a lot more fun. But I noticed everything because I'm an observer, hence our
mm.
group observatory, right? I
Mhm.
observe everything.
Observatory.
Mhm.
And what I observed was that these group, all of them were highly sexualized. So I said, well, now, if I was to have any, I bet I would have more opportunity here finding straight women or women who are willing to play with a straight man than I would going to a heterosexual bar because
Mm.
these women wanted to be free. So they didn't want any attachments. They didn't want none of that. If they want to have sex with you, they will. And let's just get that off the way. Because don't forget, anything that they do should be free of judgment. And that means sleeping with a man, and that's free of judgment. And having a threesome with a man, even with another girl, that is free of judgment. It's what liberated means. And they were extremely liberal, and I liked it. So I've seen guys just like this. They were not, you would
Mm.
think they were gay, but they're sissies. That's what you would call a sissy. You're not a
Okay.
manly man, you're just a sissy. And you're
Mhm.
not gay
I don't
either.
know if that's a derogatory term. So we mean it in a derogatory way.
Well,
We
no, we
mean
don't
it
mean
with
it.
a
I don't mean
hard
it.
R.
Like I really
We
mean
mean
He's
it.
that.
just
That's a
feminine.
term.
He
We
That's
just
an
mean it with
old
a
school term.
ER. We
yeah.
mean it with a ER.
Cause
You know what I'm
I
saying?
grew up with, well, not grew up, but I went to school with this guy who was very feminine. He didn't play with the boys. He was always with the girls. I was probably more masculine than him because I one two time I would fight him just because I didn't like how he would act
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But he was so girly. He would whine and shake up himself and everything.
But he
But
loved women.
I, I guess so. Because he used to lime around us all the time. And I've seen him on Facebook. He looks like he dresses like a man and everything. And I would assume, based on his looks and the way he carry himself, that he's into women. He just, like those, like the middle class, persona is what he exhibits. But
Right.
you know, he looks like, you know he into women. I can't say for sure, but he looks like he's into women. And he I don't know if it's because I knew him flamboyant since from school, but he to me he has a touch of it still. Although he's trying to, or he's being masculine, to me I just see a little touch of it on him still.
Mm.
Got like a splash of
Yeah, like
stuff.
yeah, like some sugar and spice still around. But I don't get that he's gay. I
And
don't get
Mm.
just
that he's gay.
and just so no one, take offense, I'm 48, and back in my day, sissy was acceptable. If it's not
Mhm.
now, then I apologize, but that's what literally what you gotta understand. These terms change over time,
Mhm.
and that's what you would call a guy who was heterosexual, but he was not gay, but he was very feminine. That's what you would
Mhm.
call him. Like a queer has been around the whole time. I understand what a queer is. A queer may have a cross-dressing fetish, but is not a trans and does not and likes women. But his girlfriend may understand that he may come to bed in her panties and lingerie or his own set, but he likes women.
Mm.
Queers are
Yeah.
not necessarily gay. They're just
Mm,
different.
justified.
It's confusing, okay? But that's if you talk to a queer person, they'll tell you the exact same thing, I promise. You can't say, well, he's queer, he's gay. No, that's not true. Absolutely not true. Gay is
Humans are
Let's.
gay.
confusing.
I'm telling you, humanity. Let's run the video.
past.
The most frequent question we get is who is the woman? Or like who is the girl? Who is the boy? Who is the man?
And this is you. How's your plate?
Fine. I'm hungry.
Hi, I'm Marin, and this is my boyfriend James. I'm a masculine presenting woman.
And I'm a feminine presenting straight man.
I've been loving Vegamore for the last
Ah,
2 years.
fuck. Why
If you
y'all
watch my
gonna do us
videos,
like
you
that?
know that I swear by their
Hit the likes on the replay.
Met online after a chance comment from Merrin on TikTok sparked a conversation between the pair.
I just was posting different pictures of myself, like dress femme, dress mask, and I had commented on this other Mexican girl's TikTok who was talking about how she thought that femme men were cute, and I was like, oh my god, girl, you're talking about me, honey.
This man got the lashes on fleek. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking
Yes, child.
And then I saw his comment under that video. That's how I got to his profile. And then I saw his videos and I was like, I'll just flirt with him just for fun.
But I was also thinking in my head, like, this is just gonna be a fun little thing that happens for a couple days and then it'll be over with. I never thought that it would be
I thought
a
the
real
same
thing.
With a connection this strong, Merrin and James were keen to meet. And even after their first date, this couple knew their relationship was going to be something special, despite not being each other's usual type.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. He likes to make the joke that I came out the womb masculine because
Honey was wearing boy clothes in elementary school.
so I've only dated girls in the past. I'm very much attracted to femininity as a whole. I love that just his energy is very feminine. Like sometimes he'll like this is not the little jacket's not feminine, but the way he's acting is feminine.
My sexuality was all over the place, very much. In high school, I was like this full straight, like almost hyper masculine version of myself, where like I was still one of the girls. However, I was pulling girls. And then I got to college and I was like, yeah, that ain't it. Not for me. So I was identifying as gay because it was easier than explaining all the ins and outs of who I was. Like never really just jumped all in with a man. I never had any interest in doing that.
Y'all believe? No, let's not ask that question. Let's not ask that question. Let's continue.
He said what he
So when I
said.
shut down in 2020, I was on TikTok constantly, like everybody was. And I was like, oh my God, these TikTok lesbians are so fine. So that's like the first time I was exposed to like masculinity through a woman.
Now, Merrin and James have been dating long distance for over a year.
I always cook.
Marin does the cooking.
Yes.
I have cooked.
One time.
I cooked for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And it was bomb. Sometimes I come on a Saturday and I'll leave on a Monday. So I'm here for a good little minute. I guess people perceive us as weird as a couple because we don't follow the regular status quo. And we don't look like how they want us to look or how they would expect us to look.
We gotta watch this
I
whole
got some
video.
pushback on that.
I don't
Can I
think
say
they're
something?
weird.
I don't
I
think
don't
they're
think they're
real.
weird
I
because they
don't
do
think they're
follow the
real.
status quo.
I don't think they're real.
You don't think they're real?
It
No,
looked
I
like a
think they're
TikTok
real.
couple. It looked like a TikTok couple. Like they did this shit to try to get on some publicity shit. because they met
Yeah.
each other's. He's like, oh, these TikTok lesbian. Like, who the hell is on social? You know what I'm saying? They're trying to be social media things and like people. You know what I mean? They're trying to. I'm pretty sure one of them is a model and one of them is some other thing or some. You know what I'm saying? Some shit.
I don't know.
It don't look like it's like a real thing. It look like it could be, cause
Could be.
they look at the interactions with each other. All right, just look. Let me see if I could make this. Well, this is probably the biggest the screen could be, but look at the interaction with each other. But I'll let y'all say what y'all about to
Mm,
say. But
To
then
me,
let's
to
look at
me,
the interactions. No, yeah, go ahead,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Zena.
uh, um, what was gonna say? To me, she looks genuine. She looks like a real tomboy. She looks like a real tomboy, and she looks genuinely like she enjoys how feminine he is. And so I personally cannot deal with a man like that. I definitely can't deal with a man like that. I don't even think I want, because I have respect for people who are gay and whatever, but I I I don't like too flamboyant men and whatnot. So, but they look like they're genuinely happy to me. I don't know. I'm not sure,
I'm
but
seeing the same thing. But it
yeah,
goes
like
back to everything that we've been talking about. If you remember everything that
mhm.
I've been talking about, it they are exactly. Let me show you something. I'm gonna point something out to you. Who's cooking?
The woman is still
She's
cooking. I
cooking.
recognize that
Uh huh.
too.
Right. And when even though he's seemingly feminine or whatever, he's feminine, right?
Mhm.
She reinforces who he is. He
Mhm.
reinforces who she is.
Who she
Remember when
is
I told you a
by that
boy,
act.
a lesbian will sleep with a dude who is who can get in touch with his feminine side?
Mm.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to go that far because you
You
need
know
him to
what I'm
respect you
saying?
too.
When I'm saying I don't think they're genuine. I don't think they
Now
who
it
they
could be a
how
made
they
up couple
how
like
they
what you're talking about.
how they moving, their persona, how they are, like that is genuine because no dude is not gonna be like that way
Yeah,
that
he
much with
naturally
and it being
feminine.
an acting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just don't it just seem like them as a couple
They
is like
okay.
is a
Okay.
publicity couple.
Okay.
Cause they ain't look
Okay.
like they fuck with each other like that, you know what I'm saying? Like baby, she really just
Yeah,
be trying
like they've
to
been living apart for like
Right.
okay, let's
mm,
say me
mm,
and
So
mm,
the
mm,
greeting
mm.
seems strange, for
Okay,
example,
okay,
right?
okay. I see what you're saying. Cause there was a part. My
they
fault, Zena.
apart,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
but here's
Yeah,
the
the
thing.
long
This is the
distance.
point that I was gonna make,
Mm,
right? Let's say Zena, I'm gonna pick on you. Let's say I was talking to Zena, right? Zena lived
mm,
Mhm.
way off. We did the
Mhm.
long distance thing. But I
Uh-huh.
know Zena can come to the United States. I know she can because she's in the United States, right?
mm,
Mhm.
And then we've been together, everything is going good. We're like this, except I'm actually masculine as hell. And we doing good. I'm not finna let Zena stay gone from me like that. I need Zena to come on to the crib. Now, only way it would be a problem if like she had her career. And if she had her career where she is, but I would been like, okay, well, what if I come there then? But I gotta get in the same location as where she's at.
And
If she don't want to live with me in the same place, okay, cool. But I'm gonna
mm,
at least have an apartment in the same city so I can have access to her more often. That's just basic. I'm in love with her one on one, or I'm in love with him.
attraction.
Like
Mhm.
that's just you want to be close to the person you're in love with.
mm,
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Like we would have to have that conversation, and I would be flexible. You understand what I'm saying? Like if she got a full blown career, and I know I work from home and do what I do, okay, I'll go there, right? But if that's not a case with them, why are you still away from each other for a whole year?
mm.
Why haven't y'all tried to come together? So I don't know. It may be some validity in what you're saying about it. May just be a publicity stunt. I don't know.
Or or they still, or it's so different or so strange that they're still trying and feeling their way through. But there might be
Okay,
some kind of
okay. It
connection.
could be somebody. Okay, okay. I could see that shit. I could see.
Yeah, and I could see what you were saying too, because even the greeting
Nothing about.
seemed a bit strange. It's like, "Mwah, I missed you. I missed you." I like, nah. If I have a boyfriend and he's long distance, yo, when you get to the door, is a jump in your arm, some kind of kiss
But they
up
did
kind
do
of
that though. They
stuff.
did, except he
It
jumped in her
wasn't,
arms.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was like a
He jumped in her arms. That's
no,
what threw
I'm
you
talking
off.
about when they just
She got
came
some strong
in.
arms. She
No,
got
I
some
talk about
strong arms, though.
Bro, that man
Yeah.
don't weigh but 98 pounds, bro. That man tiny, bro.
Don't disrespect
yeah,
this
he's
young lady.
small. This is true. She got more size than him and taller than him.
I think she could probably, you know what I'm saying, give him a run for his money.
But let me
nah, he's flat and she.
I think the relationship is cute.
Me too. I
I
think
don't
it's
have no
cute,
problem with
but
that. I do
yeah,
not.
I think it's cute, but I personally cannot date a femme male,
Femboy. I think that's the new thing.
femboy.
Femboy. Yeah, I don't know.
all right. Let's dissect this video. Let's see how much how much where we at? We at one. Oh no, this video is long. I don't know if because I know Neek gotta get her rest. You know what I'm saying? Get her sleep.
Where's she at though? She ain't
You
saying
wanna? She
anything.
probably fall asleep already.
Or feeding her fish. She's get to it to find something to eat.
Mm, yeah,
Oh,
that's what
she
I
ain't
need to know.
listening because she would have chimed in.
mhm.
Or maybe she is listening. She just not chiming in.
Neek, why you muted? She muted too. I can't even unmute her.
Or she might be dealing with the kids.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. This video is kind of a lengthy video. I don't know.
Yeah, no, let's you
We can
want to
dissect
look
certain
at that?
parts.
We could dabble into it. What we could do, we could wherever we left off, we could just do a part two. Cause we already, you know what I'm saying, we already in. We want to make it. We already in like an hour and 30. We want to make it good for the people on the replay, so
Yeah.
they ain't gotta watch a whole couple thing to digest it.
Well,
You
you
know what
may
I'm
want to
saying?
find a shorter video and one that's like we can really like get into. Because there's
Oh,
some
Nick fell
videos that
asleep.
are along this topic that are like 5, 10 minutes long.
Okay. Let's start it off.
But
What you says, you know?
I wanted I don't know I wanted to talk more about um this thing and the impact it has on society. But we could look at the video, man. Let's look at
Wait,
the
wait,
video.
wait, wait. What you saying? What has
No,
impact
this
on?
whole thing of allowing, oh, I feel like I'm male or I feel like I'm female, and supporting it, and to the extent where they're now allowing, where they could, I think I heard recently a state could take away a child and cause
Yeah.
the child to have that that surgery. I wanted to go more into it and talk about the effects of stuff like that on our children, our
Yeah,
society. Like,
I mean, this is why I have spent a great deal of my time researching this,
hmm
looking for the empirical data, seeing what it's saying, the real empirical data. And when I say real empirical data, it's important for you to know that the first time, this is not the first time that the State Department, well, that the legislature got it wrong. The whole thing about homosexuals was wrong. It was based off of poor research. Research with a lot of confirmation biases in it. The researcher himself was homosexual. He was looking for answers to his own behavior, and he lied. Dr. Hammer lied. He lied. He had to recant the research, but the damage was already done. If you go to my video about there's no gay gene, I listed in the description. I list the research articles. I showed you the findings in the research articles. I even listed what it said in the New York Post about the confounds of the research and how it caught on so fast that it was too late. The same thing is happening right now. You're coming out with all these laws, and you coming out with all these things that are affecting the majority of the population. People are losing their jobs. The government doesn't care. People are losing their rights. The government doesn't care. People are losing their children. The government doesn't care. That is a huge problem. So if you want to piss me off, go to talking about what does it matter to you. What do you mean, what does it matter to me? I live up in society. I'm not tucked away in a cave. What you do and make laws affect me. So yeah,
Mhm.
it bothers me when we're not hurting. Yes, you are hurting. One, all the psychologists that are involved in this should lose their license. All the doctors that have given the surgery should also lose their license because they're not doing what is medically correct. They're doing what is financially best.
So in
They
your
are
view, all
not
these
dumb.
people, in your view, these people, I mean, our show is frank, but there are a lot of people who might come on to the show and be upset by your opinions and the opinions that we have and such. But um, is it that we're supposed to dismiss their opinions and concerns and just look at it that there is medical data that actually speaks to this as a mental issue, as these people may be being victims themselves.
They are victims.
Um,
Like they're
so
being
it's
victimized right now when they're being
mm,
encouraged to be conform. Here's an example. This is what I mean. I've got thousands of hours of uh, thousands of clinical hours dealing with severe and persistent mental illness. Okay, and if you come to me and you're saying you stop what you're doing before I put a curse on you, and I say I should not say, oh, okay, I'll stop what I'm doing. That you do not live. He's having a delusion episode. He thinks he's God. He thinks
mhm,
he has some type of. I'm serious. He thinks he has some type, and I say he because it's mostly the men that do it. He thinks he has some type of special ability. Every psychiatrist and every psychologist who's had any clinical training knows that you do not live inside of delusion with a patient. It is not. It's harmful because it becomes a reality, and now you've got them living in a false reality. And when you have a
mm.
false reality, the reason it's harmful. This is why the reason it's harmful. Are you ready for this? Are you sure you're ready?
I was going to ask the
Which
question
would
about the harm
probably,
being done.
which I would even go so far as to say that everyone who is affirming this delusion is the reason that suicide rate is still high.
Mm,
Because what happens is they run across reality. Remember what I told you earlier on. When your real self is incongruent with your ideal self, incongruent, which just means it's not in accordance with, right?
yeah. Hmm.
It's just, it creates a level of cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is what you believe, what you've been led to believe. So the more people who live in this delusion, you increase their belief system. And when you increase their belief system to have it challenged and have it challenged to the point to where I'll challenge it, then it creates cognitive dissonance. The person who comes to me in a clinical setting, I will report that to the psychiatrist because I can't prescribe medication. And when I report that, you know what they get? They get a nice little shot of Haldol. They get a nice little shot of Haldol. That's what happened.
What's that?
Haldol, Haldol
Mm.
is a drug that is used to treat hallucinations and when you have certain delusions.
What?
Yeah,
And
that's what it's for. And you give it to people. And here's the sad thing is that if you had a person who's religious and they believe that they're God,
Mhm.
They have scripture that backs him up saying that we're made in his image. So I can see where he got that from. You have
But this.
you have scripture that has reinforced the belief that we are made in his image, and it could reinforce your internal belief system that you could
Mhm.
possibly be God and that you have the same powers of God. And there are other scriptures that actually back it up, that you have gifts of the Holy Spirit where you can lay hands on people. Okay, you
Mhm.
see where I'm going with this? This
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
backing you up, but no one believes you. Why? Even though no one knows what God's look like. So how do you really know you're not talking to God right now? You don't. But I can look at you and tell you're not a man. And if you told me you were, I mean, I would challenge you very strongly that you're not. And I want to see you prove it. I want you to prove that you're a man.
So
Then I
all in
create
all,
that. Hmm.
so all in all, from society's level, you spoke about the politicians. You're saying it's really to please these people who
Yep.
are delusional.
Hmm.
And so what if people say, "But I have the right to choose, and if I want to do this, this is what I'm going to do."
That's different.
No, minus the young people,
Right.
the young
Right.
people who they're forcing into these things. These people who say they have the right to do what they want to do.
That's true.
Um, right, but even in them having the right to do what they want to do, they're influencing, the young people. They're causing some amount of influence on them as it relates
Absolutely.
to.
I mean, absolutely they are. But here's the thing. When you have the right to do what you want to do until you start infringing upon other people. So
Mhm.
let's just say that, and I was a part, and some other, good night, Yeet, good night, Neat Neat. Let's say I was a part of a very influential group. This is just hypothetical. And this influential group said that we have a group of marginalized individuals who have who are experiencing high levels of distress and anxiety and are starting to kill themselves because you are not allowing them to uh,
Express themselves.
walk around naked.
Eh,
I'm
okay.
serious, because they feel like they were born naked and they
Mhm.
cannot
Mhm.
live with clothes on.
Okay.
And this is a society constructed, this is a societal constructed norm that needs to stop. It needs to stop. And then they start getting all the data, and they start going to the book, the journals that they have the most contributions to, and they have
Mm.
their people writing research, coming up with their numbers. And then every time someone challenges them that's not there, they're being bigots and racist. And this is anti naked phobia, and it cannot exist. Do you see how this can go? Then
Mhm.
legislature, and then they say nudity has existed for thousands of years. This is not something new. The
Mhm.
Romans walked around naked. There's new colonies in other countries. There's no instances of this and no instances of that. Okay. Not to mention, if you want to get in office next year, we have a very strong opinion about that vote. Not to
Yeah.
mention, we make a charitable donation. You might want to.
I'm proud to lead the most pro LGBTQ equality administration in U.S. history.
You might want to
All
consider that. So when they say that, now you got to get everybody in that believes pretty much anything that you say should be signed in order. So you get the president to sign an executive order saying that anyone who is a part of this and receives this money, if you do not allow nude colonies to exist in your state, your schools will stop receiving funding. That's exactly what happened
right.
when Biden became president. Okay,
Yeah.
now you see where I'm going with this. So if we're going to go down this type of governing, then
Mhm.
this is more of a communistic society, to where People who have groups like this that have a lot of money and strong influential political influence, they can make and twist everything to fit a particular narrative, and there's nothing you can do about it. This was a hypothetical situation, but it was not far-fetched. It was not far-fetched at all, and it's the same hypothetical situation. Why do you think that this has never existed at this level and since the beginning of time? If it has, I want to know what year, because I'm 48 years old. I'll be 49 in a few days. And there was not one single person when I was in high school, middle school, or grade school that said they wanted to be a girl. No one acted like that. No one did that. Now, and you cannot tell me, well, that's because they were afraid. They were afraid and they can just now come out. No, no
But that's a
doctors
big
were being
argument.
diagnosed. It's not a good argument.
No,
It's
a
a
big
very weak, it's
argument.
a very weak argument on their part.
No, not a good one. It's a big one for them that back then men weren't allowed to express their feelings, and I to some extent
Nah, that
understood
wasn't true.
what was
Men wore dresses. I seen
uh
men. The man who did my
no
mama's
no
hair was a complete queer.
Oh, yeah, but in the sense of men having, because especially where when the discussion goes on to black men, you know, the history of black people in the West, and so men had to be hard, they had to be firm, they can't cry, they can't show their emotions. So
Right, because
that's a
society did
big
not.
argument, allow them to do such, and
Well, no,
it's
it's
a
not even society don't allow them. Nobody cares. So why would you allow your son to
mm,
learn to feel self-pity when no one is going to feel pitiful for you? When I don't care
oh
what situation you show, you are least likely to get help. Look at how many
mhm.
black men are killed trying to get help from cops because they feel intimidated when they're in
recently
their
the
presence.
11 recently an 11-year-old who called for
Exactly. Who
assistance.
called the police was shot down by the police. So why would I teach that little boy to grow up and get in touch with your feminine emotional side and expect help from society? If you are going to, you got to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
That's true, but that's the exact
There's no need for
argument.
you to cry and wait for somebody to help. You're a victim.
That's like from our era, because I'm an 80s baby, and that's
Yeah.
from our era. And
Yeah.
and that's the argument they are using, that it was too tough on men back then, and now it's like in the modern world where things are much easier. Information is at the tip of your finger. You can, unlike when you had to be scrubbing your clothes with your hands, you now have washing machines, dryers, and you have so many things to assist your life, make your life easier. The modern man, the modern woman, and the argument is that men, just like women, should have an outlet, or be able to express their feelings, and the argument basically is because these men couldn't express their feelings like the way they should, or should have been able to, it's now in this time you're being able to do that, and you're seeing some of these things, they're just being themselves. Those are some of the arguments that they've been putting forward. And
Now,
of course, it's not scientific. It's just
of course
people
it's not
saying men
scientific.
should feel it. Well, that
No, of
from
course
your
it's
end,
not,
it's
because
not
it
even.
goes against what you're saying is this. All right.
Mhm.
I'll use, I'm going to just, here it is. So there is the big five personality evaluation, right? And the personality evaluation, known as the big five, right? This is the most empirically supported measure for personalities. Okay. And there was a study that, and if you're ever interested in getting a copy of some of these studies, you just let me know. Send me your email
Sure,
address, and I'll send them to you.
sure. Okay.
And it showed, and you'll see what I'm talking about, especially with this one. This one was really, really, really nice because this one debunked the myth that that society constructed gender roles. Gender roles where actually you're born with them.
Yeah.
Men are born, men score higher on levels of aggression. Men score higher on level of logic and reasoning. Men score higher in levels of um, planning, level and socialness. Women score higher in areas of nurturing. Women score higher in levels of organizing, and women score higher in levels of not being aggressive but rationalization. So now
We rational creatures.
y'all are rational, and they score much higher in levels of agreeableness.
Okay.
So here we go. If you take a woman who has characteristics of nurturing, agreeableness, and organizing, who manages the house better?
A woman.
Right. Who's probably going to be better to take care of the kids?
A woman.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Who's going to be better at protecting?
Definitely the mister, the
This
man.
based off of if you couldn't look at nothing else and you had to
Mhm.
assign a position of these positions based on this data that you got in front of you.
Mhm. Mhm.
You didn't know you just said I'm going to assign you X and Y. You don't know what X and Y are. No names, no sex, no nothing. But this is this person results and this is this one's results. Put them in charge of the baby. Well, she's more good at organizing, more, make them manage the house. It would be this one right here. Then who's going to be is more aggressive, is logical, safe, and probably and more sociable. So this person is going to build networks. He's going to be good at earning money. He's going to be good at being a what? A protector and a what? Provider.
Provider, yeah.
You're born in your nature. So now to top it all off, there was a research. I can't find it, but I remember it. They put babies in the room and they had them naturally interact with each other, boys and girls. Girls were more emotional, boys were more logical. Boys wandered throughout the entire area, research area.
Mhm.
Girls stayed close to the adults. Hmm. Kind of like staying at home, but we're just going to
Mhm.
say they stayed closer to the adults. The boys ventured off. The boys formed groups. The boys would come back around, and when a girl was, then they had the scene where the girl was crying. Every boy that
Mhm.
went in that room tried to make her feel better and would give them the candy, give her the candy that he had. Boys
Wow.
naturally want to protect and provide for a female. Naturally.
Mm.
Naturally. And if you go to my video, I think it's the one about no gay gene, or it may
Mhm.
be a different one. It may be a different video. But the research on
Mhm.
how boys perform and how girls perform when they're born is in there. Like no one wants to talk
Mhm.
about the
Mhm.
research. That's where you find answers to. And then legislatures, they majored in political science. They took biology, maybe, but they don't know anything
Mhm.
outside of that. So they rely
Mm.
on people from the CDC to help them. Well, seeing as how your main representative of the CDC is a trans person who's affected by a mental illness, why would you be taking orders from them? Who, by the way, that video that I did that you probably want to go and watch, the CDC is directing them toward a website called QSpace, right? And a child was, well, an undercover FBI agent because this was a suspect site. The site has an
Okay.
app that you download on your phone that disappears if you click away from it, completely goes away. Then they'll
Mhm.
email you another one. They'll see that that alert went off when you register your phone and stuff. Then they
Mhm.
will send you another link in your email that'll be waiting on you so you can get back and the app will reappear. So your mom can't see who you're talking to and what you're talking to. Now,
Wow.
they have, so this is where the grooming comes in.
Mhm.
You had a 31-year-old man. Now I want you to brace yourself, who identifies as a teenager. The name of the app, the name of the video that I made is Trans Ageism is upon us. This has gone way too far. This is allowing people with paraphilic disorders to start coming, and there are a lot of them. You got to understand, man. You got to put some, if you want to claim that gender dysphoria is a true thing, that is not socially constructed, okay, let's play that game. So, since it's so true, no one could get anything reaffirmed until they've been in inpatient treatment for 3 years.
Okay.
Treatment for 3 years with no access to TV, social media, telephone, like any other inpatient facility. The parents can
Mhm.
call once a week. You get a 3 minute phone call, and the psychologist is right there with them when they're on the phone. So
That's
that
what they
way
need.
you have no outside interference at all. And now we get to get you on a cognitive behavioral therapeutic program, so that you can learn to be comfortable with who you are. And we're going to get you past 11 through puberty, at least to 16,
Hmm.
so that you can see that it's all right. You're gonna go to school in there. You're gonna dress like the gender that you born with, your sex you were born with. You're gonna learn how to be comfortable in that body. That's exactly what you're gonna do.
But
And
that's
you're
the problem they have.
But if you're in an
That
inpatient facility, there's no problem, because you've got highly trained staff that can handle you. And if you become, they can recognize suicidal ideations and suicidal tendencies and go on suicide watch, and you have everything that keeps you safe. You are
but
completely safe.
that's what they're fighting against. They're saying that what you're talking about, they're saying they're forcing it on people and forcing it on children. But it makes sense what you're saying because of the research, because what the science says. But currently, the attitude is these measures to fix this delusion is actually illegal because you're forcing people to be what they're not. This is just the argument. While I understand the science.
So okay, so then we need to go back and start and get together, okay, and sue every doctor that has ever prescribed Haldol to anyone who's undertaking a delusion, because you are forcing them to be something that they're not. So let's go down that road. See, that's what
Okay.
happens when you get
Mhm.
people who are
Mhm.
talking about this that have
Mhm.
don't have any clinical experience,
Mhm.
who have all this platform, but they don't know anything about Haldol. They can't even have this conversation with you. And I've been begging for one to debate me, baby. I've been trying to get one to debate me, and it won't happen, because I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna shut it
Mhm.
down. I'm gonna shut it all the way down, because you're not gonna. First of all, you're gonna have to be at the doctorate level. I don't want to hear
They
you if you're
gotta
not at
come.
that
They
level.
gotta step
Oh
up.
yeah, I will.
They definitely gotta come
We're
to
gonna
your
be at the
level
same
because.
level for this debate, or I'm just gonna give you a class.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to recognize, just like you've done the American people. I'm not going to
Mhm.
recognize your opinion. I'm not going to hear it. I want to
Mhm.
come with empirical data. I want you to come with, make it make sense to me. You're not going to be able to do that, because I understand
Yeah.
all different facets of developmental psychology. When I'm telling you I'm an expert in this field, I'm an expert in this field. I'm not joking.
Yes.
Developmental sexual disorder, developmental disorders, autism spectrum disorder, whatever you want to talk about alone that can happen to a child developmentally, I'm your dude. We can talk about it. Okay?
It's awesome, awesome, John. You have a lot of good information and foolproof information to share as well, as that's your field and where you're an expert. But just before we go, we're winding down.
Right.
Just before you go, I wanted to talk a little bit on the identity issue, as you mentioned that the guy was identifying as a 16-year-old. Now,
Nah, not even a 16-year-old,
as what?
a 12 or 13-year-old,
What?
13-year-old girl, 13-year-old lesbian. Yeah, I wish I
A,
had the,
a 30 something man, 30 something year old man,
hold on.
as a 12-year-old lesbian?
Yeah,
Like, who's a lesbian at 12 years?
nobody.
But
Nobody.
what I
That's
want,
why I don't agree with all like none of this, man. You got people talking about, well, I felt this way since no, honey, that's false memory.
yeah, yeah, because we're spilling over now from
Oh my
because
God. I wish I
it
could find it.
it really started with people not feeling themselves. I don't feel like I'm a girl. I don't feel like I'm a boy. And now people are going as far as identifying completely as something completely different. I hear people talking about they identify as something that doesn't even have life.
Yeah. Because
And
it's gone too far. It's been allowed to be gone too far.
that going too far part is what I want to talk
This
about.
is
This.
I'm gonna show you. I
Hmm.
am going to show you something. While
I
we can
can
you see my screen?
I could see you. I can see a screen. I don't think I'll be able to see it.
Really?
Yeah, Doc in the building. He'll do something first.
Oh yeah, he's got to give me the ability to share.
Yeah, I can hear me.
Hey,
Yeah.
share my screen. I'm sharing the screen right now. Okay,
I'm
this
about to
is the
share.
guy right here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Looks
So,
like a
an adult
perv.
male who identifies as a lesbian teenager pled guilty to charges of attempting to entice a minor into sexual activity after being caught in law enforcement sting targeting child predators. Okay.
Male or
So,
female? The victim was male or female?
the
The
victim was a
child.
female.
Mm.
Oh. Oh, so he just pretending
Exactly. That's the
so
problem.
See the
he could
lesbians.
get with a little girl.
That's the problem with the government, and they should be held liable for things like this. I mean, that's just
Wow.
the people are not falling for it. He
He trying to get
identified
into grape.
as a 12-year-old girl, 31. He
Damn.
was 31 years old.
Won't give
And he
him
had every
31.
intention of having sex with this little girl. This is the conversation
Damn.
between them. Yes,
Damn.
we can be great. We could be a real couple when we
What?
home, but in public has to be on the cheek. Can probably still hold hands though.
Damn.
Oh, okay, Kay. Good, cause not gonna lie, keep thinking about kissing you. That was the FBI agent that was setting him up because no one believe a lot of
Ah.
people are not believing this, right? They just being
Mm.
conformed to it and they going along with it because they don't want to, ruffle any feathers.
Alert him.
But yeah, all of this
Damn.
and this happened through Q chat space
Mhm.
where the CDC actually sent them to it. And so you don't know what child is being taken advantage of right now.
Mm.
Like
Mhm.
you have
And
no idea.
these people who want to use the same washroom
Oh, it's
as
been several women that have been sexually. It's been kids who have been sexually assaulted by older kids in the bathroom. It's been
Mm.
women that the group forced a sorority to allow this man that said he was a woman to enter the sorority, and they caught him masturbating on the couch while the other girls was in the shower. See, that's what I'm trying
ah,
to tell you. So, Zena, do you see
they
how?
using this.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody, they're gonna have a hard time debating me, which is why I don't want nobody to do it because you can't
Mhm.
explain the essence of a man. You can't explain the essence of a woman. The other video that I did, where you got two women, they're both biological women. I don't care nothing about. She never got a bottom surgery, so she can still get pregnant. Talking about a man gives birth, a man can't give birth. So the
Hmm.
other one said, "Oh, I'm jealous." The fact that this person wanted to have a baby, DJ, do you want to have a baby from
Hell
you?
no.
Right. I
Mm-mm.
never wanted to either. It's not in
Yeah.
my essence. But if you ask me, do I want to make a baby? That's in my essence.
No.
Do I want to insert it into a woman and get her pregnant? Absolutely. Okay.
Well,
She
you'll
a
enjoy
woman
that.
has,
Shoot the
but
club up.
Zena, if I ask you, do you have a desire to have a baby?
Of course, yes,
Okay. All
yes.
females do. Most of them, not all, but
Most.
most do. So did this person who says, "Well, I was born in the wrong body, but I want to have a baby." That's your essence. You cannot remove your essence. So why did your essence not change if you really felt like you were born in the wrong body? If you
Yeah.
truly felt like you were born in the wrong body, these women in prison would not be having babies because you put a trans woman in there in the prison with them, and then 4 of them got pregnant. 4, not 1, 4. 4, because that
He
male
had
essence
fun.
jumped out. Now you
He
got
had
this
fun.
pedophile trying to reach
Pedo.
out to a 12-year-old girl. Oh, male essence,
Oh,
opposite
wow.
sex. And I digress.
John, you just come in with the info, come in with the research.